Bitcoin has come up quite a lot. For us to hover here, consolidate for a little bit, that's actually a fantastic. Here's something else that confirms that. If you look at Bitcoin's longest win streak, we're 12 days. Second longest ever. And why is this? Because normally when you have a really long drawdown, when you're really oversold, of course the bounce becomes much harder, right? So we're actually 12 days in. If today we go up a little bit more, it will be 13 days. You know what? We might even surpass the 15 days of 2013. But you could see in 2020, 2017, we had good bounce weeks, about 10 days, like one and a half weeks of wins. We're above that. We may be 2 straight weeks, and it's been a fantastic 2 weeks, and it could definitely continue. Again, I do think this also shows that we are coming up from bottom, and we have been oversold, and now we get a little FOMO. People are less fearful putting money in. I mean, you add it all together, I don't think it's one thing. It's all these things combined. All right. So those are reasons why I think Bitcoin's bottom have formed. What can change this? Can anything change it? Well, if we have some other major disaster, because we have Bitcoin has wiped out its FTX phase, okay? Meaning that whatever FTX did to the market right here, you could see, it pretty much, I would call it a V-shaped bottom, but a V-shaped recovery, but not really. It's more like a W, a little bit of like a W-shaped recovery. But this is when FTX happened, and now we are right back to that, right? So Bitcoin wiped that out. So the only thing that could stop this is if we have some other kind of FTX moment or some other disastrous thing. I just don't think we're going to get back to our low of 15,000, right? So just to throw that out there, I don't anticipate we're going to see anything bad, but who knows? You know what they say, should happen sometimes. You look at some of these models, these indicators, a lot of them are flipping to the right side, which is green. So here's one. Here's the EMA ribbon, which basically measures a whole bunch of moving averages. And it's about to flip green. And we've been in red since the start of 2022, basically, right? So you go all the way back. Bitcoin has been stuck in red since like 50,000 all the way down. And for the very first time, it's about to flip green. So bottom indicator, that certainly seems like one. And then you have something like this, the hash ribbon, which measures the miners' activity in terms of their selling and their buying, right? And unfortunately, we did have a little bit of selling. We had a little bit of selling because Bitcoin's price went down so much, right? And some of the smaller miners couldn't take it. They had to sell, but that has reversed now. Now they're no longer selling. Bitcoin's price is up. They're profitable. And let's not forget, Bitcoin's network auto-adjusts every 2 weeks. Okay, so if it gets really bad and there's a ton of miners shutting down their machines, well, the algorithm adjusts and it makes it profitable. So it's really that like 2 week mark, like 2 week span, I should say, unless Bitcoin's price keeps going down, which it is not now, right? So the miners are holding strong. The bigger miners are holding strong. Smaller miners are also holding strong. So that's good too. That's good. And then lastly, let's just talk about this real quick. In terms of drawdowns from previous tops to bottoms to basically getting to a point of the next halving event before we have a next huge run, right? But we had the longest drawdown ever in history. But you could see that it extends, so that's okay. That's okay. The very first cycle, I should say, for first cycle, we had about 26 months to a drawdown. The second one, which more people are familiar with, 29 months, and right now 31 months, right? So you could see we're following the pattern. It's not exact, but we're following the pattern. And of course, the pattern is dictated by the 4-year cycle, which we're getting closer and closer to. So this is another bottom indicator that simply according to the 4-year cycle, we're getting closer to that point where we generally speaking, we get a good recovery. And then once we get to the halving event, we have a tremendous upside, as it always happened. So why not now? We're still following the pattern almost to the T, right? And fear and greed index, we have been in fear for so long, it was almost pointless to check this because we were just in fear or extreme fear for many, many, many months. And this is the first time, you can see right here, right? First time since August of 2022. Okay, so we had a little bump in August in 2022, but not not that any of us remember that anymore. It's been so long. But this is the first time since August of 2022, where the fear and greed index actually came above fear level. We're actually in neutral. Well, we were in neutral. Yesterday we were in neutral. Now we're back in fear. So, but it was the first time in many, many months that we actually broke through the fear. So this is good. Why is this good? Well, because less people are fearful and more people are hopeful. So that means money will probably be flowing in. There's billions of stable coins, and I'm sure outside of stable coins, there's billions of cash just sitting on the sidelines. People are waiting and waiting and waiting. A lot of people are waiting for confirmation, right? A lot of people don't buy at absolute bottom or near bottom or DCA. They wait for confirmation, right? And this is certainly one of them, that we're getting out of the fear level. We're breaking through some of these resistances. We're forming new patterns, right? Or we're in patterns that show that we're about to go up. So these are confirmation that a lot of people are waiting for, right? So this is number one. We're getting out of the fear level, and that's good. That's good. Another one that's more of like a macro thing, and that is the DXY. The DXY, which I've talked about a lot during our downfall in 2022, the DXY is measuring the strength of the dollar, which has been going up and up and up and up and up in 2022. But finally, now that we're in 2023, starting to come down, okay? Because inflation across the world is starting to come down. When there's high inflation, all countries flock towards the dollar. The dollar is the strongest. That's why DXY skyrockets. DXY is pegged against the euro, the yen, the pound, the franc, and one other one, the Canadian dollar. And whenever there's high inflation, everyone thinks the dollar is the strongest. So they buy dollars, which is why DXY goes up, right? That's simplifying it, but there's pretty much the gist of it. But now that inflation around the world is starting to creep down, especially in the US, but you're seeing it across Europe, the Eurozone, and UK, and everywhere else. And Japan is becoming more serious about fighting their rates now, finally. The DXY is starting to come down. And whenever DXY comes down, it's absolutely fantastic for Bitcoin and crypto. It's fantastic. I don't have the chart with me that measures the inverse relationship, but whenever DXY comes down, Bitcoin and crypto goes up a lot. And not just Bitcoin and crypto, risk-on assets, tech especially, goes sky high. And I saw this article that's talking about how the dollar is actually forming a death cross. Because the strength of the dollar has been coming down so much, it's actually forming a death cross, and many are anticipating that the dollar will get weaker, much weaker in 2023. And if that's the case, well, that's fantastic, of course, for Bitcoin and crypto. So that's something else that's happening right now. And we've been seeing that since about November of last year. So it's been a couple of months, but it's a pretty drastic drop from where we used to be. And it was around 113, 114, now down to about 102. But if you look at pre-2022 levels, DXY was below like 90s, right? Can it certainly get back there? Yes. And let's not forget what happened in 2021, right? So That's another thing that is developing right now that's pretty damn good. Our CZ is helping recover some of the hacked funds from Harmony. A lot of people have asked me, what do you feel about Harmony? Are you still bullish? My answer is no. I've become neutral ever since this hack happened and also DeFi Kingdoms left. But it does seem like those hackers are getting desperate, still trying to cash out of those stolen funds. And CZ actually told Huobi to stop it. So they actually froze about 124 Bitcoin that they try to cash out, right? So CZ does say that according to this thread that he and other security teams, well, Binance Security, not him himself, but Binance Security and other exchange security, they talk. So they kind of, help each other to stop this kind of thing. Although he says not every exchange are collaborative. Hopefully those are like the smaller ones and not the bigger ones. So that's pretty good. I'm pretty sure it's going to be returned to Harmony. And the more they return, the better it is for the project. So good stuff. And also they're going to allow institutional investors to keep collateral in Binance custody. I didn't even know Binance had their own custody. I knew that Gemini and Coinbase did, but Binance also has custody. So now they're allowing institutional investors to keep collateral in Binance custody and off the exchanges. I guess that's good. I did see this. This is a head scratcher. Anthony Scaramucci, because his involvement with FTX, I mean, it's not a good look. Obviously, anyone tied with FTX before, feeling the pain of that connection. But anyways, FTX did buy a portion of Skybridge, and he's trying to buy that back. But now he's backing one of FTX's ex-presidents, Brett Harrison. Now, Brett Harrison left FTX.US before it all went under. So many people feel like he had nothing to do with whatever's going on, right? And he's trying to, raise funds for some other venture. And the Mooch actually gave him some money. We don't know how much, but there's definitely something there, right? So it's a little head scratcher why Anthony Scaramucci wants this kind of heat right now, trying to back an ex-FTX president, right? Doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Unless he's 100% certain this is a good play and Brett Harrison had nothing to do whatsoever with anything within FTX. I guess we'll see.